Shalom and welcome. This week's Torah portion is Tavo. It's in Deuteronomy, and it's a portion that is full of two things: blessings and curses. We are told in this Torah portion that if we obey all of God's commands, then we will be blessed with all of these different kinds of blessings. And we are also told that if we do not obey God's commands, then we will be visited upon by all of these different curses. Some of the curses are major, some are minor, but not good things. People in the desert getting ready to enter the promised land, looking at a military campaign, probably needed this kind of reinforcement. We don't know for sure, but Deuteronomy is set up this way. But later, in Poland at the turn of the 19th century, things were perhaps a little different. Not that people didn't believe in the blessings and the curses, they believed that everything ultimately came from God. So if you were blessed, it came from God. If you had a problem in your life, it probably was a curse that also came from God. But they would take steps like, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to go and see my Rebbe. And especially in the Hasidic communities, that's what they did. And the Rebbe would give them advice. Sometimes the advice was extremely practical, and sometimes the advice was not so practical, but was also something that they did, and many times things turned out fine. So there was once a man, lived in a city, and he had a strange delusion. And this delusion became an obsession. What was this delusion? He felt that he knew that Eliyahu the prophet lived in his city, specifically in the person of the commander of the police force. And what's more, the Messiah also lived in his city, in the person of the governor of the city. He was sure of this. And he was obsessed with this, and obsessed with telling people about this. Everywhere he went, he would tell people about the presence of Eliyahu the prophet and the Messiah. His family was very troubled by this. He was forever telling everybody he knew about it. And his family was getting more and more embarrassed by this, and there seemed to be nothing they could do with him. So they said, okay, what can we'll go see the Rebbe, Simcha Bonim. So they went to Simcha Bonim's city, and they got an audience for this man. And sure enough, he opens the door of Simcha Bonim's study, and he rushes in and says, I know Eliyahu the prophet and the Mashiach, they live in my city. Simcha Bonim looks at him. And who are they? One is the commander of the police force, and the other is the governor of the city. And who am I? Well, you of course are the Rebbe. And if, as you say, I am the Rebbe, don't you think that I know that Eliyahu and the Mashiach live in your city? Of course you know, Rebbe. Of course you know. It's just that you choose not to tell anybody about it. Very well then, said Simcha Bana. You also can be like this. You know this, but nonetheless, you can choose not to tell anybody. So don't mention it to a soul. Keep it all to yourself. Well, the man left and returned to his city, and he did as the Rebbe had instructed him. And soon, after a while, he was fine. This delusion that he had disappeared, and things were back to normal. Had he done something wrong, that he had been cursed with this insanity? The insanity is one of the things that's mentioned in the Torah. One of the things that can happen if you don't follow the commandments is you can be cursed with insanity. Or was he just a deluded and obsessed person? And the calm of the Rebbe and his faith in the Rebbe let him be healed. Just like us. Sometimes we become a little deluded and possibly even obsessed with something. Is this a curse from God? Liberal Jews don't think so. Orthodox Jews perhaps do. But one thing is for sure. When this kind of thing happens, we do need to seek help. Whether it be our rabbi, or a Rebbe, a spiritual leader, or even a healthcare professional. Since we're not sure if this is something visited on us by God, we still must take care of ourselves. Thank you for listening and watching. Shalom.